So hi everyone. Firstly, I apologise for my croaky voice. I talked too much at a garden show this weekend and I can barely talk. Anyway, we're up to bay number 4. This particular bay, at one point it was just all sticks underneath, then with cardboard and a bit of paper in there, a wet layer, and then that composted soil on top. And it went rock hard. You literally couldn't even dig into it. I got into it though with the power planter and mixed it all up, and I took a couple of the wooden slats out here. I'm going to put one back in because what happened was the bush turkey made a big mess down the bottom here. So he got in and dug it all up and made a mess at the bottom. It's nothing major. But what I want to do before I do anything is just see what it's like underneath here now, and I'll edit in the part of the video about 2 weeks ago where I show you what's under here. But after I dug it up, all you could see under there were twigs and it was very, very dry and barren. I'm guessing it's still going to be like that even though we had a bit of rain last week. Interestingly enough, that's quite moist under there, which surprises me because some of the other bays are really super dry. Another thing that's really quite interesting about this, it feels very sandy as well now, as if it's being mixed with sand. I just remembered I added dirt and weeds from the turkey mound. That's where the moisture and sand has come from. Probably not going to be able to do this. What's actually happened is that timber has actually bowed from the rain, so I don't think I'm going to be able to lift that up again. I'll see if I can dig a bit out to show you underneath. I was only able to dig down a little way as I was too exhausted from my big weekend at the fair. Now that's actually quite a little bit stinky under there down the bottom, but it's certainly moist and it certainly looks like no. The twigs below were mostly dry. The occasional one was a bit damp. Still got a long way to go to decompose though. A very slow process. Clearly putting layers of cardboard is not the way to go. You really need to shred it and break it up a lot finer for it to really break down properly. Stirring it up the last time I did it, I think has helped put that soil in on top of all the twigs below. I think it will decompose better over time. I'm going to have another stir up now and see if we can't get it moving a bit quicker. Deleted most of the turning because that was pretty tedious watching. There's a hard part. It's like a rock. Look at that. That's what happened to it before. This went like a big hard rock. See that? Listen to this. Hard. Looks quite dry under there. You can see those layers of cardboard. It's going to take a long time for anything to eat through that. So really you should break it up a lot finer than that. This really needs watering and turning every week. There's that layer of twigs. You can see nothing's happened to it at all. So again, I'm trying to get that soil to drop into the layer below with the twigs, and I'm going to give that a water now and leave it for another 10 weeks. And I'm fairly sure not a whole lot will happen in those 10 weeks. There's obviously some decomposition going on, but it's very slow. But if you continue watching, you'll see the bit where I pull the bottom of this out, and then also the layers at the end of the video, how I started this particular bay. And look at all those damn bugs flying everywhere. Drive you nuts. That's what I don't like about open air composter. You get these bugs flying around in your garden everywhere. So you can see I've given that a really good turn, and then I gave it a bit of a water, which in my opinion is a waste of time. That will be dry quicker than saying Bob's your uncle. So ideally you really need to cover this then with some greens, because the greens contain moisture in their contents, and that will keep the browns a bit wetter and keep that balance between your carbon and your nitrogen ratio. But that's not the purpose of this experiment, so I'll do that another time, a few weeks after we see and watch what this does just with the browns and the decomposted waste. So bay number 4 is still as hard as a rock, and I don't know if I can show you. Yes, see how it's pulled away from the edges of the bay here as it's shrinking. Let's see if I can dig into that at all. Oh, well, impossible. That's really hard. I threw some water in here during the week too. So that's the cardboard layer. Pretty much dried out, that layer. That cardboard was wet. So this is not a good way to compost, and I wonder if I can take these sides off. This is probably a mistake. I'll probably never get them back into place. So some of that has turned to soil, but it's very dry. It's very dry, and you can see there's the cardboard layer, and it looks like those leaves underneath have done nothing at all. It's amazing how hard that's gone. You can see there's some mycelium decomposition happening in there. Underneath it's not too bad, but that is very dry. So this whole bay really needs to be turned over, or it's going to do pretty much nothing, I don't think. And I'm not sure I'll be able to pull this bottom one up. There you can see that it's still got all the dried leaves and bushes that I put in there, and absolutely nothing has happened there at all by the looks of it. Doesn't look like anything. No. I'll throw those in on top now. So there's one way not to compost. I'm going to have to figure out how to get to that bottom layer now and get it moist. I'll come back and fix that up. Actually, I might leave it like that now and see what the bush turkeys do with that. So these are the layers that I started with: branches and some palm fronds, then twigs and leaves on top with a few grass clippings, followed by some shredded paper that had been soaking for over a year, covered with a bit of grass clippings, and then some cardboard that had also been soaking for over a year. That's that yucky black stuff. Then I laid some layers of cardboard on top that I'd soaked for a few minutes. You can see the big box there. and then the mechanically composted waste on top of there. So by day 10, you can see it went a bit mouldy, followed by day 21, a bit more mouldier. Then it really started to dry out. Now this bay was covered, so it didn't get any rain, but it did get watered every now and then when I watered all the other bays at the same time. But you can see it didn't make a whole lot of difference. So by day 57, I actually took all the dirt, or some of the dirt from the turkey pile, and put it in there with some old weeds as well. And then I stirred it, which you saw in the other video, which the turkeys also dug up a bit. And that pretty much brings us up to today, day 91, where I've turned it again. That was before, just there before I turned it all. And here it is again after the turn. And now we'll come back again and have a look at it in 10 weeks and see what's happened. Thanks for watching.